Okay, let's get straight to the point. Let's talk about this very sad news coming out of Birmingham, Alabama. Now, so right here is Lakeshore Ridge Apartments. Now, this story right here, it has a lot of parts to it. And I have some extra details to kind of provide a little bit more clarity or possibly what may have really all happened with this case and with this situation. So stay with me. Lakeshore Ridge Apartments is located more like in the southwestern part of Birmingham, Alabama. This right here is a map where you can see is over there by like the Homewood, Vestavia Hills and all that kind of area. Well, this apartment complex, I'm sure the people that live there is not going to ever forget this day. Now, this right here is a high school football coach at Parker High School in Alabama, the Birmingham area. His name is Demetrice Beverly, but the players and everyone call him Coach Meat, M-E-A-T. And now, before he got into his high school coaching career, Coach Meat, Demetrice Beverly, was actually a pretty good football player in college playing wide receiver for the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, one of the HBCUs that's actually in the SWAC. And he actually played there from 2003 to 2007 and was actually a part of the 2006 SWAC Western Division champs for the College of University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions. After his college career, of course, he came back to his city where he's from and eventually got into coaching at a high school, basically to lead these youth, teach them how to be young men and get them to the next level. Now, Demetrice Beverly, Coach Meat, was also a married man with kids and a family of his own. But you know, with any marriage, you have its ups and downs, you have its rough patches, but you fight through it and you keep going. And at some point when you feel like it ain't gonna work, you go your separate ways. Plain and simple. But I know it's easier said than done. But now, this right here is De'Corlion Robinson and his girlfriend. To my knowledge, they're not married, but they're in a relationship. And the same with a marriage. A relationship has its up and downs. It has its rough patches. You keep trying. You keep sharing love. You keep doing it. Sometimes you fall out of love or whatever. But once you get to a point where you feel like you have reached the end of the road, then y'all go y'all separate ways. But sometimes that is easier said than done. This situation is going to be a sad situation because it really was all preventable. But we live and we learn, right? Now, De'Corlion and Coach Meat, Demetrice Beverly, they end up meeting each other in a way that no man never want to meet another man. On August the 13th, 2025, Wednesday, around after 8:30 something p.m., De'Corlion worked a lone shift at work, according to reports, came home to Lakeshore Apartments and walked in, and he met Coach Meat, Demetrice Beverly, in his apartment under his roof with his woman in their bedroom. The same bedroom that he be with his woman with. Now, there have been some reports about this in their relationship, but regardless if he pay a small bill, one bill, the most bills, whoever, that still is where that man lives at. And Demetrice Beverly has made a decision that led to him basically losing his life. And the woman was 21 years old. And Demetrice Beverly, the coach, is 39 years old. And so, you know, people are already talking about that. But now, rest in peace and condolences to his family. I'm sure this is a tough way for a wife, the kids, whatever, to find out that your husband lost his life this way with somebody else's woman. Sad. And it's also, you got to imagine De'Corlion coming home. It ain't right what he did. It ain't right what Demetrice did. They both wrong. But imagine coming home, walk through the door, and there's another man in the room with your woman. Now, this right here has resurfaced. This is a post that Demetrice Beverly, Coach Meat, made back in 2012. And you know what they say. You know, the mindset you have maybe can catch up with you later. He made this post saying, she says she got a boyfriend. I say, so? You want another one? Laugh out loud. And here it is. 13 years later, Demetrice Beverly has lost his life basically the same way he had written this post, and that is being another boyfriend, side dude, or whatever to somebody else's woman. This is a messed up situation. Let's get into the news clip about more of this story. Let's go.
De'Corlion Robinson is charged with in the case. He's accused of shooting and killing Demetrice Beverly at Lakeshore Ridge Apartments late Wednesday night. Now, investigators say Beverly was in an apartment with a woman when the suspect entered the bedroom and shot Beverly before leaving the apartment. Police arrested Robinson in the apartment parking lot there off Lakeshore. They say Beverly was found shot in a bed and died at the scene. Now, a statement on Parker High School's athletics Facebook page says in part, the school is heartbroken. It says Coach Beverly gave his all to the Thundering Herd and our community.
Like I say, this situation is sad, and it really could have been prevented, like for real. And I'm not saying, I understand people have imperfections. I understand nobody's perfect. But the decision making that you're doing in your imperfections has to be better to protect yourself and think about trying to get back home to your kids. And in Demetrice Beverly situation, this man right here, De'Corlion Robinson, and his girl, like I say, people say it was rocky. People say the relationship wasn't on the best terms. But unfortunately, they was allegedly still living together. This man still had a key to the house or whatever and was able to walk right in while this other man is in the house. Now, I don't know if De'Corlion got off work early or what, but don't understand why a 39-year-old father or husband would make this decision to be up in their house, an apartment. One way in, one way out. At least you jump over the balcony or whatever you do. But why be in that situation? Because you got to think about it. You have kids. And, this young man right here, she's 21 years old. And that's another topic that people are talking about because, surprisingly, a lot of people are not really giving a lot of sympathy to Coach Meek, the high school football coach that lost his life, because they really feel like, why would he even put himself in that position? Let's get into some of the comment section. They saying this: a married 39-year-old male with a 21-year-old female. Let's start there. Somebody responded, they are not ready for that conversation. And then someone else said, because everybody's saying, that the coach was a good man. You know how this stuff goes. He was a good man, didn't bother nobody, great high school coach, great for the kids, all that. Somebody said he wasn't no good man. I don't care what they say. Why was he in another house with that woman? It's going to be mixed reviews about this because you clearly see that some people are not really, sympathizing of the way he lost his life. And you keep going. Now, this lady right here got a little bit more in depth with it and said some other things that I don't necessarily know if it's true or not, but she said this. This whole situation is teeing me off. So I'm going to say this and I'm going to let it go. He should have walked away. Where the F did y'all want him to go? The other room? It was his house. She referring to De'Corlion Robinson like he came in and see this man in with his woman, and would y'all want him to go to the other room until the guy leave? No, that's not going to happen. She also said the man climbed the balcony just to get in. She is talking about the coach, which means he knew he was effing wrong. To avoid the ring camera, you climb a balcony for some pee. And a 40-year-old know how these 20-year-old play games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Yeah, it's a sad situation, but in that moment, do you know how traumatizing this boy was to walk in and see his girl with another man in his place after getting off work trying to provide for the family? This whole situation is crazy. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen any confirmation about the coach, Demetrice Beverly, Coach Meek, climbing over the balcony to go in to avoid the ring camera. I ain't seen nothing about that. But someone else also said, all over some cat. He should have not been in another man's house screwing a 21-year-old. That girl boyfriend, 23-year-old, came home and shot. This guy was almost 40 and was married. So you see, people are really, really, really not sympathizing with the way this all played out at all. Would this end up being a crime of passion? Would De'Corlion Robinson potentially get a chance to kind of walk free because of how this happened? It was in his home. But we're going to get into that. Now, like I said, this whole situation is you just don't even know how to explain this. You wish something like this wouldn't happen. You wish the coach would have said, hey, I ain't coming over there. We can meet up, but I ain't coming to your place. Because he has to know that she has a man. At least the guy was supposed to be at work to midnight, but got off early. But now, the young lady who was in the middle of all this, her uncle was on Facebook basically defending his niece and basically kind of letting some of the information out about kind of like, you know, how everything really took place and more information about the boyfriend and their relationship. So let's get into this. But you're going to see these words, but I'm going to have to try to make it kind of sound right because it's kind of like all over the place. But he said this to somebody. Whoever made that post, tell her to show the lease. He's talking about the apartment lease, and see who names on it. Bo is the De'Corlion. Bo credit was bad. My niece had to get a second job to help pay the bills, and he died with them clothes on. Now she's referring to the coach. He's saying that the lease is in his niece's name, and that basically she was the one paying all the bills and had to get a second job because the man wasn't providing. But he also said that the coach died with his clothes on because everybody is saying he was in bed with the woman. But the uncle is basically saying he may have been in the bed, but they weren't doing nothing. But he also said this at the bottom, though. He said his niece walked in on the boyfriend twice, cheating. Now, I don't know if she walked in at the house, like he walked in on her, or what. But the uncle said the niece walked in on De'Corlion Robinson twice, cheating on her. So was this get back or what? This is the uncle saying this. I'm just the messenger. Somebody responded and said this to him. Your niece is SSF. To bring a man to a place where another man pays bills, so what she got cheated on? Move the F around and find somewhere new in your own place and space. Now, 2 lives gone behind a silly young girl that didn't know any better. The uncle replied back and said she can do whatever with whoever. Y'all sound slow worrying about someone else's business that's not y'all effing business. So go mind your own business, goofy American. At the end of the day, ain't nobody going to F with her, but carry on. So the uncle is standing on business about his niece. A lot of people trying to, take her down through there and say this is all her fault, but the uncle is putting it out there saying, no, y'all don't know the half. So then somebody else came back and said they could have went to a hotel uninterrupted and everyone is still alive. I don't give a F what they had to do. She played a dangerous game at someone else's life expense. This is posted everywhere for public scrutiny. Now, it's the F up if you can't handle criticism, not align with your effed up thinking process. Get off the internet, goofy. So people's in this comment section. The uncle is going in, people is going in. They saying, look here, I don't care what you say about your niece. She was wrong. Everybody in this situation was wrong. The uncle came back and said this. Finally, he said, see, you don't know S. My niece had to get a second job. Maybe she didn't know all of this would have happened, but his grown A knew better. Don't blame the child, the niece who was 21 years old, when he was 39, and he was also unhappy with his wife. That's not my niece's fault. So the uncle said, look here, the niece basically told the family this man was unhappy with his wife. Unhappy. So he got involved with the 21-year-old. Now this whole situation is sad. You have this picture right here, this collage. You have the coach, Demetrice Beverly, coach meet, high school coach. Right below him, you have De'Corlion Robinson. Beside De'Corlion, you have him and his girlfriend. That relationship is over. Even if he get out on this situation, that relationship is over. Or she may take him back, who knows. Then up there to the top left, you have Demetrice Beverly, the high school coach, and his wife. And the wife had to find out from news, whatever reports, that her husband is not coming back home to the family because he was at a 21-year-old house. Another woman, when he probably should have been at home. But instead, that man, De'Corlion Robinson, walked in. Now, we can all say what we would do, all this kind of stuff, but nobody knows what you would do if you walk in. If you're a woman and walk in and see your man with another woman in your bedroom, and people treat that like a special place, like that's your home, that's your domain. You don't know what you would do. This man walked in from work. Even if the relationship was rocky, even if the niece was paying most of the bills and he wasn't really providing like he should, maybe he paid $50 here, $100 here. He was staying there. No matter if the niece's name was on the lease. People do that all the time. They stay together. But if you were committed to each other relationship-wise, rough, rocky or not, it's going to really, really, really do something to you. You walk in and see that person with another woman. Yes, he should have walked away and just left. That would be the right thing to do. But when people in that moment, it get heated and stuff happen. Now, De'Corlion actually ended up using a switch. That is illegal. He getting an M charge and he gonna get charged for a switch. So imagine in an apartment how many rounds he probably let off just that quick. And that also could have went into the apartment adjacent to it. This could have all been bad. But y'all get in the comments what y'all think about this story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share my video. I'm Grady Mac. Holla.